Hi, Kev here, Tabletop Upgrades, and this is the Lean update for November 2022. Three things I'm going to cover in this video. First, I'm going to show you some of the improvements. Second, I'm going to reflect on what it's been like having a few people from outside the Lean community come in to the workshop and what it's been like to see the space through their eyes. And third, I'm going to have a look for new improvements, basically go around, find everything that pisses me off, and then make a to-do list basically of improvements, make myself accountable by sharing through this video. So this is the workshop. It's looking pretty good after 3Sing this morning. The reason why it's looking a lot clearer than it has done in recent weeks is I finally got myself a work in progress tray. It really annoys me that I've got work in progress and I'm working to eliminate that, but at the moment I've got stuff that needs to dry overnight, and I've got this racking system now balanced on top of a 3D printer, which is not ideal, but that's really tied things up and improved the flow. Talking to 3D printers, another improvement is I've got a 3D printing resin set up now. Again, not optimized, just dumped on the desk at the moment. I think I'm going to build some kind of stands for these so that I can store tools like this underneath in the correct space. The biggest improvement for sure is I've labelled up the laptop. I was just using this as a laser cutting client, and it's a powerful design station. I haven't been doing as much design work as I wanted to recently. So in the past month, I've labelled up all the ports, so it's super easy, display port, no more fiddling to find the bits. And also when I did pull this out, the cables dropped down the back, and it was an absolute mission to get the cables back. So I've 3D printed myself a little stand on the side, and literally all I could do is the three plugs, I just plug them in there, they don't slide anywhere. I can drag this laptop out, and I have actually been using it way more, so much so that I've achieved one of my long-term goals, finally got a digital product up, sold about 6 of these, which is really satisfying because now this is purchased by a customer and fulfilled automatically through the website. I do nothing, and yet it contributes to my monthly turnover. So major upgrade, and I'm going to do way more of these. That is the vision, as it were, is to complement all my gaming accessories with downloadable digital products. So it's good to know that proof of concept's happened, all because of some labels and a 3D printed stand. Over on this side, you'll notice that the table has gone. I'll come on to where it's gone in a second. And a 20 quid IKEA Pohang chair off Facebook. That's been really useful. It's a bit rich to call it a breakout area, seeing as it's a tiny workshop, but to be able to grab my iPad, sit myself in that chair and reply to emails and do some account tasks in between laser cycles is really useful, because those always wait till the end of the day and I was working at night unnecessarily. That table there provides me with extra workspace here now. So it's for photography there, for products on this mat. And also, it gives me an extra 2-tiered workspace for some tasks, which has been very useful. I already use that concept here, so to have a second version of it is super useful. And the plants aren't dead yet, which is, I'm pretty amazed by that. So there we have my major improvements. I suppose the other one is I've got back on the Headspace meditation. I've done 5,000 minutes of that over the last couple of years, and I've fallen out of the habit, and it makes me a better human being when I do it. So I've basically formed that as part of my 3S routine. Now, on to reflections of having people in the workshop. So having people in the workshop who aren't part of the Lean community has been really useful to me. Now, these have been just delivery guys that have bobbed in. I've had some suppliers on a Zoom call. I've had friends over, and I've shared some pictures in a group chat in another unrelated hobby group that I'm in. And the opinions or consensus is one of two things. Either you're completely mental, why have you labelled everything up, you're like Rain Man, what on earth is going on here? 2, this is so tidy, I wish I could be like this. And I went on, particularly on the second one, I think this isn't tidy, this is a flipping mess, there's so many opportunities for improvement. And I've fallen out of that habit, just like Chris Hudson said on the chat, that if you're not careful, the 3Sing just turns into glorified tidying, and you don't get the benefit of the improvements. And I've certainly fallen out of that habit. Been doing it about a year, lean, and I found every third month or so, the improvements slow down or stop, and my 3Sing just becomes tidying. And that's exactly what's happened. So as a point of accountability now, and through looking through other people's eyes at the space, I'm going to quickly sweep round with you and find some things that annoy me, and then in the public space make a list of things that need to improve. Okay, we'll start big. This ducting, I end up stretching out, just piping out the door, and it's a real pain. It gets the workshop cold, and stretching the pipe out makes it a little bit louder because the pipe vibrates. So I'm going to duct that through into the storeroom there. So that's first one. One thing that does annoy me is under here there's dangling cables. They're labelled up pretty well, but you can see there's a lot of cables, and there's power supplies. Kind of, there's one at the back. And over here there's power cables dangling down. What I would like to do is 3D print some mounts to keep those up, reduce the strain on the cables, keep everything tidy, because that's the thing that creeps up on you. Next, I've got this lovely 3D printing station that I haven't particularly used, and with it are various accessories, boxes, tools. There's nowhere for them to live at the moment. So what I'm envisioning is some kind of basically set of drawers almost, that allow me to keep the gear in here and mount to keep these off the desk. Over in this corner, this has been a constant source of annoyance, which I'll come on to in a second, but I've had this for a month now. The light flickers because I've got a faulty switch, so I've finally got a replacement switch. I haven't done that, so I'm going to sort that out. Down here, my guillotine, which I use probably once every other week, I've got nowhere for it. It just sits on the floor, getting in the way and annoying me. So I'm going to try and mount that under here so it's out the way and it's with all of the sort of paper resources. I've got quite a good system down here already with my consumables, with the barcodes to scan and reorder. Nice little tab on the bottom, another tab there for organising the different parts of it. Yeah, that's just floating around, annoying me. Onto the cables. It's just never been right, it has never been right. So we've got all kinds of just odds and ends. I haven't sorted it. Bought some of these ports, they're really good, and yet I'm still using this. So this needs to be improved, not entirely sure how. I tend to charge the same 2 or 3 devices. Need to sort that out. Over here, I bought this YouTube filming rig, and I really haven't produced enough YouTube videos. It's a big part of the business. It gives a little bit of ad revenue, but more importantly, I know for a fact it drives sales, and I'm not doing it. And the reason I'm not doing it is it's not easy enough. So hence, you can see me starting to play around with some lighting options over there. That looks cool, and I'm going to try and set this up so that, I'll try and flip it around, the view is going to be something like that, I think. And that'll look pretty cool, I think. It's a good backdrop. It'll look more like that. So some potential there. And then a huge improvement that I want to make is, flip you around again, is I've forever got odds and ends of bits on the desk. Particularly, this is never in the right place. I could do with that mounted up here. And Phil inspired me with his French cleat system in his workshop, and I was having a bit of a Google. I think there's some real potential for this kind of situation. So a bit of a tool wall, but I love this bold artwork here, and I really like the idea of having a place where I can hang plants and artwork, but also having it as a modular system where I can put little bits of in progress work. So potentially I'm thinking all along here, and maybe into that corner up the wall, have strips of some kind of hardwood, because A, it'll look cool, and B, it'll provide some great utility. That's a big old project, that. And then the next one is the corner of shame. It's got better. If you look through my old videos, this is better, believe it or not. But another reason not producing YouTube videos is not easy. And there's some tripods that are a nightmare to get at. There's some plastic of a project that didn't quite work out. I've kept it for some reason. I've got some boxes of tokens that didn't quite work out. Kept those. I've got some in progress products that I'm repacking. Not finished. This corner's a nightmare and it looks awful. Another one, this bag I take out to the gaming club every week. It's got all my gear in. It just sits there all week. It's got nowhere to live. So I think maybe some kind of hook so it can hang on the back of the chair would be a good move. And then finally, the painting drawer is a joke. Look at this. I think what I'm going to do is repackage everything in these dropper bottles, which are far superior than the old Citadel pots. So, and then maybe laser cut some racking for that, make that easier. Practice what I preach on the hobby side. And these occasionally get used for work as well. So yeah, that can certainly be improved. So let's get on to a summary. So I've summarised the improvements from that little suite we're in the workshop here. 14 things are rising, which is amazing what happens when you just open your eyes, and doing so has required me to interact with other people who don't normally come into the space and just see what they see. So everything from massive projects like building resin-based stations to doing French cleat systems to tiny little improvements that make things flow that bit better, like properly sighting the work in progress rack, labeling up plugs and getting rid of cables and things like that. So I hope this was insightful, perhaps inspired you to have another look at your workspace. If you got out of the habit like I have, I'm sure you were much more effective than me anyway. But any suggestions, if you spot any opportunities for improvement, please do let me know. And thanks for watching. See you in the next one.